Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the SA Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Delace here with me. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. My I'm trying to think of the right word. My lack of interest in T20 cricket is so bad that I only realised an hour ago that the Proteas were playing tomorrow. But otherwise, I'm good, man. Otherwise, I'm good.
No, Timmy, you are. I will not bemoan you that you are more of a Test cricket and an ODI fan than our T20 fan, and you just do this for us, just to keep us engaged because we are a South African cricket podcast that covers all things South African cricket. And even though Tim hates T20s, he does watch them if it's the Proteas and SA20. But yes, apologies if you are seeing any signal issues or any microphone issues. I don't have my mic on me. I am traveling. I am in Namibia in Windhoek right now. Just arrived a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, please do bear with us. But if you're a loyal fan, thank you very much for being understanding. If you're a new fan, also thank you very much for understanding. If you're new, and there's a lot of new people discovering our podcast over the past couple of weeks on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, as well as on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please do follow us on X. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts as well, follow us on X to get all the latest cricket news. Lots of Mondays are breaking news day. So if you just want to know anything about cricket, just follow us just for Mondays. Mondays, everything just drops, right? I'm going to talk about that. But yeah, please follow us on X at SA Cricket Pod. Everything at the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel. Also, the South African Cricket Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the audio people. Myself, audio themes. And then coffee that helps us to be able to bring you content. Our rebrand was courtesy of our loyal listeners and viewers who supported us from day one and have been providing us with some help. We do this for the love of cricket alone. We are looking to get sponsors, and we are working on that. And this and sponsorship money has really helped us bring you the best content and be able to help you listen to all the things that are happening in South African cricket in and out. You can also email us at sacricketpod@gmail.com. The Buy Me a Coffee link also has a QR code at the top of the screen for the people on Twitter, on X, as well as on YouTube. You'll see it here in the corner. That is for you to you can click on, you can zoom in your camera on that, and you can help us with the donations. We're just trying to make it easier for everyone. Also on YouTube, at the bottom of the screen, I know here's my thing, my pen. At the bottom of the screen, the bottom right corner, just below the SA Cricket Podcast logo, you'll see a QR code as well. So we're trying to cover all bases. This, the one in the top corner is for the people on X, and the one in the bottom corner is for the people on YouTube. But you can use both if you see both, but you go to the same place. Thank you very much for all your contributions. And yeah, that's awesome. Jam-packed show we have today. We're going to have to cover the T20 series. We're going to cover the Test squad, as well as we're going to then cover the Proteas women, who are heading into the semi-finals and had a traveling day yesterday to Guwahati. And then we'll also cover the South African domestic scene roundup. We had CSA T20 knockout in Division 2, and then we also had the 4-day series in Division 1. And it turned up the apple cart in many parlances. I'm so excited for that conversation. But let's start with the Proteas men. Too many things that have happened already, and the Proteas men today are preparing currently for the T20 series. We're going to talk about that. But some breaking news that came out today was the squad that was announced to go to play in the Test series against India in a couple of weeks' time. And most notably, as expected, Temba Bavuma comes in as the one person who comes into the squad. However, that means it is two people have been dropped. It's David Bedingham who has dropped, and Penland Subrine who's been dropped as well. We did say, Tim, earlier on that Pren it was an audition for him between him and Simon Harmer, and the old man beat him out but really sad for your boy David Bedingham. But in essence, Shukri saying in the press conference, it's horse for courses. He picked the guys who could play spin well, and Zubair Hamza manages to stay in the squad. And yeah, David will feature in the South African series going forward. We are going to talk about this in depth, but your thoughts on that. I know you love David Bedingham. I've become a massive fan. He helped us win the World Test Championship with that lovely 50 that he scored at Lords. Where do you sit on these changes?
So my surprise was when he wasn't picked for the series, or wasn't picked in the 11 for Pakistan. But when he wasn't picked on the 11 in either test, the writing was on the wall. When Stubbo and Tony delivered, but they came through, and they had a lot of pressure on them for different reasons. When they came through, I thought, well, it's highly unlikely that that David's going to be in the squad, because Temba is definitely coming back. It makes logical sense to me. X is a little bit wild at the moment today. I don't really get people. Before he wasn't in the squad, people didn't want him. And now that he isn't playing, he's suddenly become the chosen one. I don't have a problem with him not being in the squad. It makes perfect sense. It's a hard decision, but logically it makes sense. Stubbo and, as I said, Stubbo, without repeating myself, Stubbo and Tony have delivered. They had good tours of Pakistan. I see some people saying it's a combination of between Zubair Hamza and David. It was never that. That was Zubair Hamza is a backup. If one of the two that was there, that is in the 11, gets injured, it was a combination of Stubbo or David. That was the question. And we know that Shukri likes Stubbo. I get it. Absolutely fine. No issues with it. It is what it is. Professional sport is tough. And I have no doubt that he will be back in the squad, as you say, once we return and play Test cricket at home sometime in 2035.
No, man, Tim. He'll definitely put England to the sword next year and Australia to the sword, as well as Bangladesh at home. I've got no issues with that. And look, it helps Western Province, right? David then comes back to bolster this Western Province batting lineup and add a little bit more nous there. On the other point is obviously Simon Harmer, how well he bowled. Brendan O'Brien missing out. Unfortunately, right? He had one game to kind of put his hand up, and that day it was Senran. That game it was Senran Mutusami's game, and to a certain extent, I don't think Pren bowled badly, but of the three bowlers in that first test at Lahore, he was the third best spinner in that match, and unfortunately he sits out for this test series because we've got our spin twins in Harmer and actually triplets in Harmer, Mutusami, and Keshav. I don't know if we should add Mutusami to that, but I know Simon Harmer and Keshav can do the job on their own. But what I also like about the squad is we've kept Corbin, we've kept Marco, and if in case India decide to bluff us and give us a friendly wicket.
Yeah, it's a solid squad. Look, I don't think we're going to get raging turners in India. I think India are not going to make that mistake. They're going to trust their pace attack and their batting to get the better of us. They want Bumrah to be successful at the series. They don't want him to be an outlier. They want him to control the series. That's what they want. They don't want, and people like today's show are going to be effective even on pitches that are not necessarily raging turners. So don't expect a lot less turn that we saw in Pakistan. Definitely, what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the T20 series. The Proteas main take on Pakistan a 3-match T20 series. We've had a couple of changes to the team. Initially, obviously, Gwena Mapaka was out, and he was replaced by, I think it was Cody Yusuf. But then we also received a few news that David Miller is out now as well. and he will be just trying. I think he's being replaced by. Oh, this is bad podcasting, everyone. We're we're fighting our way through this. So David Miller is out, and obviously the captaincy is being replaced by Donovan Ferreira. However, Connor Esterhazen, Luto Supamla, so Tepondwa, sorry, where were we? Sorry. Really bad podcasting. There we go. Miller and Kutsia were out of the white ball series, and Kutsia has an injury during the Namibia game that he sustained, and also Miller is out for the T20 series with scans that they sustained a grade 1 hamstring strain. Matthew Bretsky comes in, and Tony DeZorzi is added to the T20 squad, and Jonathan Ferreira will captain the side. From the pace side, Othniel Bartman makes it in as well as Kutsia's replacement. Iron Mad, with that, obviously we've got a World Cup in 2026, so it's good to see Othniel Bartman back. He was our best bowler last year, best fast bowler last year. You can't tell me about Amit Nokia and all of the other stuff. Odd Bartman was the most consistent last year. Yes, India took him to the sword. We understand, we believe it, but happy to have him back. Just sad that Gerald's picking up injuries again. David Miller, look, I quite frankly, for me, if David Miller doesn't play another T20 for South Africa until the World Cup, I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. I've got no issues with that. This series effectively for me is for Donovan Ferreira to kind of figure out if he's going to create the axis of Miller, Brevis, and Ferreira there in that batting lineup, and he kind of needs to get a little bit more confidence with the bat, which he has. He's in a good patch right now with the bat, and we just wanted to translate at the international level more consistently. And so I'm happy with that. Also, with the responsibility of captaincy, I think he needs to play with a little bit more responsibility. So really happy with that situation. And Matthew Bretsky's deserved the call up. He's done really well in recent times. Whenever he's called up to the Proteas, even in tests or in ODIs, to say that. But he's really done well. Tony DeZorzi is an interesting one, but I think we still believe that Tony can be a 3-format player. A lot of people still think that he's a test player. I think Tony is an all-format player, and we're going to see a lot of that in the series. Most likely a backup for now, based on how this thing goes. But if he gets a game, it'll be really interesting to see how he goes about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The confidence that Tony should be getting from the test performances to flow into the white ball stuff. It really should. I've said it before, I'm much more comfortable with him in the white ball setups, both formats. I think he definitely has something to give. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go about it because of the various changes. I agree with you. I don't actually want to see David until the World Cup. Really, David can make sure he's 100% for the World Cup. That's all he needs to do. Make sure that he's 100% fit, and he's in the squad. I don't really need to see him at all. What would be interesting to me is how Lwandle goes. Lwandle had a bit of a tough time against Australia. Can he make it here? Can he do it in these conditions? Has he learned the fact that he doesn't need to hit everything out the ground? Can he actually, even in the T20 sense, there is a building of an innings in a T20 sense. We know he can do it, but he just needs to show it to us. And then because of what the World Cup is, I hope that this is a series where George plays. Because if George is just going to be baggage man for yet another series, then don't pick him. Pick a young spinner. Bring in Seleka, bring in Dawood, bring in somebody who is happy to do that. George is not at that time of his career. George needs to play. And if you're going to pick him, play him, or otherwise don't pick him.
Yeah, Tim. Look, I agree with your sentiments on George. I'd like to see him play a lot more. But we'll see what Coach Shukri has. I think, look, everything Shukri's done right now, and the way he's framed it, the way he's worded, he's communicated with players, is one where, a lot of the players, he's gotten a lot of the trust of the players. And you can just look at the whole Bedingham situation this morning, how he handled it really, really well. How he's handled the fact that Lungi's not even on these next two tours. But he's playing obviously limited overs cricket. And the whole horses for courses. I think what he's doing is it's a squad mentality, like we said in the last week. And so it's going to be interesting to see how George reacts to that and if he adapts to that really well. He's made himself available, which I'm happy about. And yeah, look, I'm not ready to bring young spinners in at this point in time. I think you want to have a team where George Linder somehow factors in, because you can push him up the order, right? You can do what you're doing with Vian in the test side, where you can steal some valuable runs there and get someone to hit to bat at a high strike rate with like a pinch hitter, right? And on top of that, he's a quality bowler, right? To me, George Linder is the Simon Harmer of the limited overside, right? Kesh is king, and the partner to Kesh could be a George. Yes, they're the same left arm spinners, but who cares? And so for me, that's how I see George Linder. I think it's really important for us to see him in these conditions, and it's subcontinental conditions, right? So it's an ode to what's going to happen in India next year, and you kind of get a sense of who your spinners are and batting conditions and targets, right? I think we're probably going to have to find a way to get to 200 consistently. So Luandre and Devalt are going to have a lot on their hands in terms of a little bit more pressure. But I love the fact that we've managed Luandre. We've just taken him out of the fire test match cricket and just try helping him find form. And I think, look, he hasn't had the best of times in 4-day cricket, but he's had starts, right? It's not like he's not getting out for ducks and stuff. He's actually gotten some starts against the Lions. He 37. He looked okay. He looked like he was going to kill the Lions, and then he lost his wicket. So yeah, it's an interesting one for this test series. I just want to see, because fundamentally for the World Cup is we kind of know what our batting lineup looks like, what the top six is going to look like. You kind of also know what your bowling is going to look like. The question obviously is who's going to partner Kesh as the second spinner. And I think the incumbent right now is Thingy. And then on top of that, it's trying to figure out who the other all-rounders are, right? And what makeup of all-rounders do we have? Do you go with a Vian with an extra spinner like Mutusami, or do you go with Marco and then maybe a George or something like that? But that's what we're going to see this time. We're playing in Rawalpindi and Lahore. I think the pitches are going to be very flat, and so going to be lots of runs. If the test match is anything to go by, we might have a cracker on our hands in terms of a game. It's going to be very friendly, very friendly to the batters. But that's what we want, right? We're trying to get to 200 consistently in all of that. Tim, anything else on the Proteas the T20 series? Obviously, there are 3 games tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow in Rawalpindi, then they play Friday and Saturday in Lahore. All games at 5 p.m. South African time.
No. Very interested to see, because of the World Cup around the corner. Just very interested to see combinations, how it's going to work. It's very interesting to see how Shukri assembles his 11 with the guys that are out. It is going to be interesting to see. But no, I think we've touched on everything we needed to.
Yes. One more thing, Proteas Women. The less said about their performance on Saturday, the better. I expected much more from them, and they again are disappointed. I kind of feel like batting first, they against bigger sides, they struggle. But this team is a team that is the bully at the playground, right? They're the big bad bully at the playground. They bully the teams that are smaller than them. But when the big boys come through, they hide and they don't step up. And that's my problem with this Proteas women's team. I remember Shukri in Australia was like, he needs them to express themselves, be a little bit more confident, be a little bit more arrogant. I'd like this team to express themselves. They're very good cricketers, but somehow when you play Australia or you play England, it just falls apart. And yes, we said it many times. This team can't play spin. Into Alana King, I had the best of times watching Alana King bowl. It was so great because I'm a big leg spin fan. The issue was she was bowling against South Africa. It was horrible. The balls she was bowling were amazing. They were so good. They were just, but then the South Africans, again, the footwork. I don't know what a leg spinner does, because Nashwa Sandhu did this to us in that one game against Pakistan, where all of a sudden we weren't sure about the bounce. We weren't sure, and it's on pitches where there's a little bit more bounce. It's not like docile like the other ones, but like if you've got a leg spinner with a little bit of bounce on them, it's thing, and the footwork was nowhere. All 7 wickets, nowhere. Sinalo tried, but I love Sinalo. Whenever the team is collapsing, she's the one with the runs. And it's great, but we'd like runs when the team's winning too. But yeah, I'm just very disappointed in that. And yeah, look, the optimistic view is you're still in the semi-final, you have 2 cracks at it, and it's against England. It's not Australia. So try to find a way to get to play Australia in the final, and then hope it rains, hope something. But yeah, because I don't see us beating Australia in that final, but anything can happen in sport. Because my heart is saying, hey, don't lose hope. And I'm not losing hope. I'm just mad, Tim. I'm just mad. But I still believe.
Yeah. I left my madness on X, and I got some flames for it, but I stand by what I said. I think whatever happens, this team needs a shake-up. Whatever happens, we beat England, we lose to England. This team needs a shake-up, and it needs it urgently. It is running against the current at the moment. It is getting over the line due to big performances from big players who are doing it on a consistent basis. But the holes that have been there for 2 years are still there. The holes that are there, that were there 2023 after that final, are still there. They are still there. They're still being exposed. And nothing has changed from that point of view. But positively, we can win the game. We can absolutely win the game. Lindsay Smith does not turn the ball. Just get to the pitch of Lindsay. Get to the pitch of the ball, hit her through the V, put pressure on her, and you put pressure on England. I know that's a very simplistic way of me looking at it, but that's literally my game plan. You put pressure on Lindsay, you put pressure on England. She is so... Yeah, and look, they've got 3 quality spinners, but I think Lindsay has been the key in this World Cup. Lindsay has somehow managed to restrict top-order, high-powered batting by bowling incredibly accurately. Eccleston is the more experienced, 100%, no doubt about it. But I just think where Lindsay is at the moment, very, very confident. And our top 6 can absolutely get something on the scoreline. We could absolutely win this game. There's no doubt in my mind. We can do it. But we've got to believe in ourselves. That's what we need to do. We need to believe in ourselves. And I don't think we believed in ourselves against Australia. I believe we said we need to get 300 on this pitch. They didn't need to get 300. They really didn't. This Australian side is extremely good at winning World Cups and extremely efficient. But it isn't a great side. It's a good side who know how to play as a team. We are not. This team could definitely beat England. But we've got to put pressure on the spinners. We've got to put pressure on. If we allow the spinners to bowl to us, it's game over. It's game over.
Yeah, and the one thing I'd like to see less is the sweep shot. I'd like to see less. I'm sorry. Most of our batters are right-handed batters. Lindsay Smith is going to try to turn it away from you. Please don't sweep. Please, please, please. At least if you want to sweep, sweep with the turn, right? But again, like Tim says, just get to the pitch of the ball, apply pressure. Even if you say, fine, Lindsay Smith is that bowler that we will not get out to, and she goes at 3-4 runs and over, but everyone else we try and attack it and try and do that. That works too. That works too. But you need to kind of play either at the pitch of the ball or as late as possible. And if you're going to play late as possible, Nadine, please, leg stump guard doesn't work. That Alana King dismissal, yes, was a great ball because it stayed on its line. It drifted into you and stayed away. But I don't know how you can give the leg spinner 3 stumps to aim at and then be surprised when you're castled. And for me, those are the small little things that you know, but you're not sure about. And you arrive there unsure. You're like, I'm not so sure. Those are the things. We just need to tighten up on that. We know how to play. The problem I have with this team is like every time they go to the subcontinent, they forget how to play spin. It's like you must remind them again, be like, hey guys, it's a dance. Get to the pitch of the ball. Minimize those cover drives, get to the pitch of the ball and play from there. Or play as late as possible, play the cut shot, square. Those are the small little things that you kind of need to do. Play with a straight bat, not a horizontal bat. Those little things. Those things need to be. I feel like every time we go to they went to Surat in India in like 2017, and they were having spin clinics, and this team hasn't changed since then. Right? This team has gone to India multiple times since then, and again, you kind of have to remind them, oh yeah, you can do this. But hey, it's probably a curse of playing on our pitches where it's pace and bounce. So I'm okay with that. I'm fine. But we can beat England. It is possible. You just need to if you put down a score of 250 plus, you're in with the game. You're in with the game. You give it, and that's what I want. Give them something. Give the bowlers something to bowl at. If you bat first, if you bat second, believe in yourselves to chase whatever target they put down on you, and hope the bowlers don't get taken out for 300. Good thing is Marizan's turning a corner. She's becoming a little bit better in this tournament, so that's good. And then obviously lefty is very, very key for us in this tournament. If she can get early wickets, Marizan can open up with some early wickets. We're in here with this chase, and that's the thing. We're never out of the game against England. We're not. But if you bat like you batted against Australia and England in the first game, you might as well just come back home and don't play the game. But anyway, we believe. Good luck to the ladies. They play the semi-final. I think it's Wednesday against England. Okay, cool. Let us move on, Tim, to the 4-day series and the domestic roundup. The domestic roundup. We had 4-day matches in Division 1, and we had T20 knockout matches in Division 2. So we're going to be going through that so far. Let's give you the roundup of the 4-day series. Let's start with the Warriors at the Titans. The Warriors traveled to Pretoria to play the Titans. They batted first. They put down 244, which included 113, a century from Matthew Bretsky, 113 of 165. 5 wickets to Duan Jansen, 5 for 39. Dan Khalim also took 3 for 34. In reply, the Titans got to 228. Rivaldo Munskami scoring 86. A bit of a collapse in and around him. And in the bowling side, Duan Olif 4 for 39. Matthew Boast coming back to Pretoria, 2 for 68. And Apua Mnyanda, 2 for 50. In the second innings, with a slender lead, the Warriors put down 257. Temba Bavuma scoring 60 off 111. Matthew de Villiers with a 54. And Patrick Kruger 45 off 60. Yanku Smith taking 2 wickets. So to Sibonelo Makanya and Lesego Koko Shabana. And Neil Brunt taking 3 for 54 in that innings. With a target of 228, the Titans could not get there. again, this Titan side is in so much trouble. Rivaldo Munsami with another 63 in this game, and Keegan Peterson batting lower down the order at number 7 for with a 39, and Joachim Skalbeck with a 33. This Titans team is in serious trouble. Everything they're bringing in youngsters. Tim, what is happening in Pretoria? And I know they're not going to get relegated because I think they'll do well in the T20 as well as the OD as the One Day Cup, but it's not looking good for the men in Pretoria.
No, it isn't. It's the batting that's the problem, not so much anything else. I'm obviously delighted that the Warriors got over the line. I always have a penchant for my coastal sides, but there was I do think Warriors are the better side. I do. I think over the 4 days they were the better side, just about. But the Titans were 124 for 3, and Rivaldo Munsami, both innings, was seeing the ball so well. He batted so beautifully. He was on 68, and he was given LBW. That was the turning point of the game. And I have paused that action, paused the LBW decision. I don't think it's hitting the stumps, and it was definitely outside the line of the off stump. It wasn't a good decision. That changed the complexion of the game, because at that point, 124 for 3, Titans were looking good. They had a nice partnership going, and the Warriors didn't look like they were going to get a wicket. That definitely changed the complexion of that last day. But I do think as I've said before, over the 4 days, Warriors deserved to win the game. And look, you get decisions, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. It's the nature of our game. But it definitely had a factor in the result.
Look, if CSA can get a sponsor to sponsor some sort of a Hawkeye or a decision review system, the Titans probably would have one win in the bag, but they go into the halfway break with no wins, and that's a very, very horrible sight for them. Next game is the Lions taking on Northwest at the Wanderers. The Lions was the top of the table clash between 1 and 2, and the Lions batting first, getting to 239. Connor Esterhazen and Delano Porchita saving the Lions blushes, who at one point were 5-5. And Delano Porchita and Connor Esterhazen put on a 152-run partnership. And Connor got 195, Delano 77 of 130. Ruan de Swart for the Northwest taking 3 for 18, Onkenyaku 3 for 36 in that game. Northwest in response getting 256, getting a slender lead there. It was the contribution from Mikael Prince with a 48 at the top of the order, as well as Dion Forrester, who got 78 of 133. His start keeps on rising very, very well at the Northwest. Bear Swanepoel taking 5 for 84 for the Lions. Sia Plaiki taking 4 for 54, continuing from the damage he caused the Titans the week before. In response, the Lions were bundled out for 163. Richard Silitswani on 38 of 112. Delano Portitas and Bloemfontein with 29. This team again was 5 for 68, and somehow managing to get to 163, but they were 6 for 123 and lost the last 4 wickets for 40 runs. From a bowling perspective, it was Onkenyaku who took 4 for 74 and 2 wickets apiece for De Swart, Alfred Motwa, as well as Vian Luba. With a target of 147, they only needed 2 wickets to get there. You had Yanaman Malan scoring 41, as well as 67 for Vian Luba. And yeah, it was all she wrote in the Northwest win their 3rd match in this tournament, and they are sitting pretty at the top of the table, Tim.
This is the result that shocked me. Northwest, after their subpar performance against Province, going to the bull ring and getting a result. I really did not see this one coming any way, shape, or form. As I said before, what they lack at the Florida competition won't matter at the white ball, but they lack a pace bowler. And then I thought that they needed a pace bowler if you're going to go to the ball ring. It might not be as fast as it used to be in the older days, but it's still where you go if you've got fast bowlers. Again, talking about turning points, in reply to the Lions' first innings, Northwest were 139 for 7. 139 for 7, and you get 256. That right there is the turning point of the fixture. If they banged out for 180, I don't think that they get the win here. I don't think they then get back in that second innings. So as you say, Forrester, who's in the A squad, his stock is rising massively the more he plays in Division 1. A huge win. And as you say, Northwest at the break of the 4-day competition are top of the log, which is not something I necessarily predicted. I thought they would be competitive, but to be log leaders is quite something. That's a massive win. A massive win for Northwest.
Statement win. To Northwest is known as a white ball side, but this is a massive statement to kind of say actually they could take a few more, trophies along the way, and I'm really, really excited for them. Hopefully, they get to hold on in the second half of the season. Finally, Tim, for the first time in a very long time, we have a result in Pietermaritzburg, which is something I haven't said in this podcast for a very long time. The Tuskers took on Boland. They hosted Boland in Pietermaritzburg. They batted first at home with scoring 298 in that first innings. Malcolm Norfolk, 89 of 183. Andile Mukhakane, 78 of 124. Cameron Shackleton, 53 of 118. From a bowling perspective for Boland, it was Keith Dudgeon, 3 for 44. Ayat Gamane, 3 for 38. And Sean van Berg, 2 for 90. In their reply, they got a lead of just over 60 runs, just around 60 runs. Did Boland. They scored 359. Gavin Kaplan, 152. Man keeps on scoring runs like for fun now. It's an incredible start to the season for Gavin Kaplan. Clyde Fortain, Jedley van Brecies also scoring 82 there. Grant Rulofson, 43. So they scored 359 with a lead of about 60. Ziad Abrams, 3 for 53. Hardest for Yoon, 2 for 78. And Michael Erlang, 2 for 66 for the Tuskers. And then in reply, the Tuskers got bundled out for 182. Malcolm Norfolk scoring 49. Katusara Pulana, 38. There were 81 without loss. They lost the first wicket at 81 runs. They ended up getting bundled out for 100. They're losing the next 10 wickets for 100 runs. It was really, really horrible there for the Tuskers. A run out even, which is criminal in this. Sean van Berg, 5 for 49 for Boland to the masterclass to kind of tie and hold this Tuskers team. Ayat Gamane, 2 for 16 as well in support of Sean van Berg. And they just needed 124, did Boland, and Grant Rulofson got 82 of those runs, and Gavin Kaplan 25 of those, and Peter Malan 15. And Boland have their second win of the season. Tim, was it a bad move for Western Province to let Gavin Kaplan go?
No, for the simple reason that he was never going to play because of the numbers. And by numbers, you know that we have to play a certain amount of people of colour in an 11. That's where we are. For the same reason, Matthew de Villiers and Gavin Kaplan were never going to make Proteas 11. So from that point of view, absolutely not. I have no issues. I have plenty of issues with Province and the recent doings over the last 5 or 6 years. Losing those two is not something I criticize them for because of where we are. you're not going to drop, for example, you're not going to drop Simmons and Linda and Smith. Those two, you're just not going to drop those guys because they are doing the business. They're performing well. So no, it's not. It looks that way from the outside, absolutely. But no. Look, Gavin Kaplan. One thing that people don't need to start looking at him. It's why I mentioned last week when we talked about the SAA squad. I understand why he's not in it. It's a very strong squad, but I would have found a way to get him in because this boy, when he scores 100, he goes and he makes it big. He's already in his very short career, scored a double 100, scored 170, scored 150. He goes and he scores a big. He makes it matter. He made sure that Bowling could get over the line here. Because, as you rightly said, in that second innings, they didn't look any trouble, Tuskers. 82 for 1, they didn't look any real trouble at all. I know they've got a bit of a tail, but it was still a huge shock to get bundled out for 182. It's very hard for them at the moment. I thought they would be slightly better than they are. I thought they would be slightly more competitive. What they're finding is they've got to find a way to get out of this. So when they get these tough situations, try to find a way to score runs. Because what's happening is they're having a slump and they're just blocking. And you can't just block in this format. In Division 1, you can't block yourself out of danger. It doesn't mean you have to hit, but you've got to find a way to rotate the strike. You've got to find a way to get singles. And once they lost 5, it was kind of like, let's just put the shields up and block our way out of this. And it was never going to work. They were always going to lose once they were 5 down. It was just the writing was on the wall for them. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in their performances in the first 4 rounds of this competition. But I understand it. It is hard. Division 1 cricket, there's a big difference between Division 2 and Division 1. Bigger than I would like it to be, but it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, let's move on to the last game, which was Western Province taking on the Dolphins. The home side batted first, and they scored 337. Valentine Kitime scored his maiden first-class century. Javeshan Pillay scoring 54 at the top of the order. A bit of a collapse there towards the end by Province to get to that 337. Going from 284 for 6 to 337 for all out. From a Dolphins perspective, Oguhle Cele scored 5 for 81, took 5 wickets for 81 runs, 2 wickets for Ngobani Mukwena, who's having his debut season, so really excited for him. In reply, the Dolphins managed to only get to 267. Marcus Ackerman with 80 of 121, and not many other contributions there from that perspective. 3 wickets to Dane Patterson for Western Province and 2 wickets each for Bjorn Hendricks, Carl Simmons, and Oliver Whitehead. In response, Province were bundled out for 148. Joshua van Heerden managing to only get to 50 or 59. Jiv only getting to 31 of 81. And that set up. Bryce Parsons for the Dolphins taking 6 for 41. And Oguhle Cele, interestingly, is taking 2 wickets apiece. Then, in response to needing 219, the Dolphins managing to get there with, in some dramatic fashion, I must say, the Dolphins social media account has been playing that situation, the winning run for a very long, for a couple of days now on socials. Ethan Bosch, 59 not out, and Oguhle Cele was also not out there, but Ethan Bosch scoring the winning runs to help with 1 wicket to spare to help the Dolphins win by 1 wicket. It was insane viewing. Tsepang Dutole 39 of 61, Marcus Ackerman 30 of 44. Yeah, but it was like a steady procession of wickets there, Tim. And there was a point in time where both teams were in it. Carl Simmons taking 4 for 116 and 2 wickets for Brian Hendrickson, 2 wickets Nabe. Tim, it was the stuff that we wanted. We wanted drama, and we got drama.
Game of the weekend, undoubtedly. Game of the weekend. The result of the weekend was the Northwest one, but the game of the weekend was this one. This one was absolutely enthralling, and it became very, very difficult to bat in that second innings, both teams, which is why you see those scores. But as you rightly point out, that 9th wicket partnership between Ethan Bosch and Pele of 64, of which Pele made naught, but one of the best notes you'll ever see, quite rightly, was shared on the Dolphins social media over and over again. It's fantastic viewing. Go back to the Dolphins social media, and it's worth watching. I love his fighting spirit. Also a note to him, because it was his maiden 5-wicket haul in this competition. So really delighted for him. Look, Province shouldn't have lost this game. They definitely shouldn't have lost it. They had that 156 for 8, hitting 220. Shouldn't have lost from there. We know Ethan Bosch's ability with the bat, but you shouldn't have lost. But you've got to give it to the Dolphins. They found a way to win. They found a way to get over the line, and it was cracking. You're right. The last half an hour, it was absolutely enthralling. Could have gone either way. Really, really good cricket.
Yeah, and that's what we essentially want, Tim. We want enthralling cricket, and so well done to those teams. Let's just give you a sense of the logs as they go into this break, because now obviously we started with SA T20 knockout, and the challenge starts on Wednesday. The Division 2 log sees Easterns at the top of the log at the halfway point. The Badgers in second, the Knights in third, Mpumalanga the Mpumalanga Rhinos in fourth, the Eastern Cape Inyati in fifth, Limpopo Impalas in sixth without a win, and the Northern Cape Heat also without a win at the bottom of the log. Not looking good for Northern Cape here, Tim, but you think in the second half they might just bounce back. But we do know that they have gone younger, and these are the growing pains of everyone going younger.
Yeah, look, it's a tough start for the new coach over there. Former assistant at the Dolphins, he's having a tough time with it. I hope he's given time. Let's put it that way, because it is getting tough for him. But the top three that we spoke about last week are there. Those are the top three. Those are the top three. One of those is going to be promoted from those top three. I don't see it happening any other way. I don't see. You might see good wins from the other four in the T20 competition in particular, but on a consistent basis, it's those top three. Watch those top three teams, and they're going to be the ones fighting it out for promotion.
Yes, top three teams, most likely, and they're the ones who we actually had earmarked. And then let's look at the 4-day series.
Mpho has exited.
Sorry, I seem to have kicked myself out of the studio.
No worries.
Yeah,
Continue.
sorry. I was putting the 4-day log on, and then somehow I got myself kicked out of. It's not team of the week. It's the. Oh, why can't I? And then, okay, there we go. Yeah. So as we were saying, the Northwest, the Dragons, top of the log, 80 with 3 wins and 1 loss. The Dolphins are the only unbeaten side here with 2 wins and 2 draws. I think Boland as well, unbeaten as well with 2 wins and 2 draws. Just giving a check there for you. No, The Warriors are the other unbeaten side here, with 2 wins and 2 draws. So, who are also just below the Warriors there in fourth. The Lions sitting in a place they're not comfortable with in fifth position. In fifth position. KZN Inland and the Titans holding out at the back there for that. Tim, I know I think you're missing a team. And the team you're missing is Western Province. Western Province is
Oh my goodness.
above the Tuskers. It's okay, Tim. With 1 win and three losses in 43 points. So they are just above the Tuskers there. So yeah, not looking good for the Titans, Tim, but this is what we can do. Now let's go to your team of the week, and then we'll just cover some Division 2, and then we'll go through. Tim's team of the week has Grant Rulofsson from Boland, Malcolm Norfolk from the Tuskers. Valentine Kitime gets a call up after getting his maiden century. Gavin Kaplan and Connor Esterhazen have been mainstays. Daniel Smith also comes into this list. Dean Forrester has been here before, and he gets a nod after his, I think it was a 78 there against the Lions. Ethan Bosch for his heroics. Sean von Berg, Obuchetele, and Apiwe Mnyanda round out the thing. Bears, Swanepoel, and Siaplaki are looking at him with side eyes. So too is Rwanda Swart. But okay, Tim, this is your team of the week.
I can't have a Lions player outside of Connor with their loss. Sorry, your loss, guys. That's just the way it is. Connor's innings was fantastic, and I genuinely thought one of the differences between the Warriors getting the win over the weekend was Apiwe Mnyanda's wickets, at second innings wickets in particular. Those 4 wickets, that second innings, where he bowled with genuine pace, lovely rhythm, and he really caused the opposition a lot of problems. I really thought that he really shone for me. So we have touched on everybody else. I'm just going to catch it a little bit short. We've touched on everybody else. Forrester's doing well. Ethan Bosch is 59. Kevin Kaplan just can't stop scoring runs. I know I've been very critical of Kitime. I know I have. And it's been tough going for him. It really has been tough going for him at the step up at Province. But to get over the line in the fashion that he did, I take my hat off to you, lad. I really do. I hope this is a fresh start, and I hope this is meaning that we're going to see more of this, because if we see more of this, it'll be good for you, and it'll be fantastic for Western Province cricket. So if you bring on the runs, then I will be more than delighted. More than delighted.
Okay. Just moving on to Division 2, the CSA T20 Knockout Challenge started this weekend. We had a no result in East London between the Rhinos and the Inyati. That was on Sunday. On Saturday, Limpopo hosted the Garden Route Badgers, and the Garden Route Badgers won by 8 wickets. Just looking at the scorecards there, Liam Peters 45 of 35, Susan Masondo 43 of 38, Ludo Kaesner 35 of 25, and Heath Richards got a 67 of 55, George Van Heerden 52 of 35 to close us out for the Badgers in style. And then the last game of the week, or the first game of the CSA T20 Challenge, saw the return of Riley Rousseau in Bloemfontein. He scored 97 of 46. Cole Abrams scored 54 of 40. Ruan Hasbrook scored 30 of 9 to help the Free State, the Knights get to 223. And Northern Cape got bowled out for 130. Garner Tar, former Free State boy, 48 of 30 is the only one who just held on there. 2 wickets for Joe van Dijk, Mbongiseni Mhlanga, Sisana Magala, and Jacques Sneeman. So massive start there for the Knights. And now let's go to the upcoming fixtures, which have the CSA T20 Challenge Division 1. On Wednesday, you've got the Tuskers taking on the Titans in Pietermaritzburg, the Dragons taking on the Warriors in Potch, and then on Wednesday again in Division 2, the Badgers take on the Inyati in Oudtshoorn. The Knights take on Limpopo in Bloem, and Easterns take on Northern Cape in Benoni. You also have the Women's World Cup semi-final between the Proteas women and England women in Guwahati, as well as on Thursday, SAA and India, a 4-day game, the first one. Remember, Temba plays in the second one. So yeah, we've got games galore happening. Tim, as we close out the show, any final words about the cricket that's about to happen or the cricket that has happened?
No. Just get behind our ladies. Get behind the Proteas women. Let's get over the line, girls. Let's get over the line. Let's get in that final, and let's see what we can do. I don't care how you do it. Just get it done.
Yes, from Tim's lips to God's ears. Let's get into that final. But before we do that, before we say goodbye, remember, please follow us on X at SA Cricket Pod. Please also like and subscribe on YouTube, and also follow us on Apple Podcast and Spotify at South African Cricket Podcast as well. Everything's on the bottom thing. And then to buy some coffee, remember that QR code at the top and in the corner. You can help us buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. Outside of that, it's just enjoy all the cricket in this week. Good luck to SAA. Good luck to the Proteas women. Let's get into the final. And good luck to the Division 1 teams starting their T20 challenge journey. It's going to be a quick one, so don't miss out. We'll be back sometime this week, sometime next week. But for you to find out, you need to like and subscribe. Outside of that, it's goodbye from myself and Tim and Nasale Kakahiso.